Editing Susan here. I didn't realize until I was editing that I had done as much lip smacking, clearing of throat, and sniffling as I did. It's the beginning of allergy season here, so I apologize. I have tried to cut as much as possible out.
Hey y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is Friday, March 1st, 2024, and this is episode 56. My name is Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. If this is your first time checking me out, I appreciate you doing so. And if you're a returning viewer, I appreciate you coming back. Hopefully both sets of people will find something that they enjoy watching, or maybe you're just playing me in the background for noise while you're stitching or crafting. That's fine too. So, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes because I got a couple things that are unusual today that that are different today. I don't want to forget to say. I think we've gotten a few new subscribers since my last video. Part of that, I'm sure, is thanks to Stacy, the 911 stitcher, calling me out, shouting me out. Hopefully she's not calling me out, which I really appreciate. Stacy, I appreciate you mentioning my channel, and it was lovely to meet you at the Barefoot Needle Arts in February, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in October as well. If you are here because somebody else mentioned me and I have not mentioned them in return, I would appreciate it if you'd let me know. If they think to tag me, then I think, see it, but I may have missed someone. But anyway, that's it for the intro. So, I'm sorry, I'm bad. I don't usually do this on Friday. It's a Friday night, and I don't usually do it on Friday nights. My brain's still a little stuck on work mode, I think, so I can't seem to get my words right. Let's move on, though, to hearsay, which really doesn't have a whole lot in it this week because it's basically just been work. Work hasn't been super busy, but that's really about all I've done. Work and craft, which, the craft part is fine with me. We have not had really a lot going on the last couple weekends, which has been nice. It's been, nice to have the weekend to kind of relax and hang out. So, excuse me. So that's about it for hearsay, really, and we will move on to verdicts. Verdicts are what I call my finished objects, and so I do have actually four this time. So we'll move into that. First up is a knitting verdict, and that is my Summer Wind cowl, which I showed you last time. This is finished. The ends are woven in, but I have not blocked it yet. So this is a pattern by Irish Girly Knits, and I knit it out of Wools, WOLL''S, color changing cotton, and the colorway is Fantasy. So this is just a lightweight summer cowl, that can be worn kind of scarf-like hanging down, or you can double it up if you want it to be closer to the neck. I don't like things right up at my neck cowl-wise, so I like these longer ones so that I can wear it down and then just double it up if I'm cold and want that warmth next to my neck. So, just a note, if you do like that yarn, I believe that she is a vendor at Carolina Fiber Fest next week. If you are local to the Raleigh-Durham area or are traveling to come to Carolina Fiber Fest, I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked closely at this year's vendors list, but she used to be a vendor, so she may be. Check the vendor list at carolinafiberfest.org, I think. So the next three are all cross-stitch verdicts. First up is my Cardinal Tree, which is the Mill Hill kit that I have been working on since the end of December, on my Mill Hill Monday. I got this totally finished, beaded, the jewel made a little bead hanger, and I fully finished it. I just use adhesive velvet, or I guess it's velveteen. It's not real velvet, but it's that velvet feeling on the back. So that will go in the little Christmas box. I think I said that's a Mill Hill kit. I also finished September Quaker, which was the Quaker I was working on in the month of February. This is a pattern by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. I'm doing this entire series. I started it last year for 7 on the 8th for Julia, and that ended in December officially, but since I have 5 more to do, I'm still starting one each month on the 8th of the month. And this was September. This is on 40 count Color and Cotton Over the Moon is the fabric, using the called for Color and Cotton, not Color and Cotton, Classic Colorworks floss. So that one is done. And then my last verdict will be somewhat of a surprise, I think. So one of my whip go calls for February was Fairy Ren Ventures, which is I will put a picture of what the final design looks like here. Excuse me. That is a Heaven and Earth Designs pattern that is a full coverage, but I was doing the no background version, which means basically I was just doing that long branch with the birds on it. And the artwork that's based on is by an artist whose name I can never pronounce. So if you really want to know who the artist is, check my Google spreadsheet that's linked below, although you'll need to look at the finishes tab to see all the information on this. Anyway, so is obviously a long pattern. Matter of fact, the fabric for that was going to take up basically the whole length of this fat half. And this is a picture where I was the last time you saw it, which, unless I was Superwoman, as you can tell, I obviously did not finish that entire branch. So this was one of my whip go calls for February, which means that I was supposed to work on it for at least 10 hours, because my whip go board this year is all my big ass projects with a couple of larges. And I was working on it, and I realized 2 things. One, I was doing this on 40 count fabric, fiber on a whim, in the colorway Celestine, because I wanted kind of a sky looking fabric rather than doing, most of the time I do full coverage pieces on 25 count even weave 1/1. So 2 things. I realized, one, that on the 40 count 1/1, because this was a full coverage pattern, it was blowing up the details enough that you didn't really see them. They're fuzzier. So, it's like blowing up the pixels on something. So the detail was not going to be like I would really want it to be, and that in order to get that detail, I'd really need to do it on 25 count 1/1. But also, I realized that this entire thing was going to be nothing but confetti. And that I really was not enjoying working on it for the level of detail I was getting. If the detail had been better, I probably would have persevered. But so I decided that I was not going to finish this. But looking at the design, I was able to finish where I was, and I did just that first bird and branch and the little flowers coming off that branch, and turned it into a small. So I will turn this into a pillow or something probably. But I don't know if you can really tell. If I get close, the light kind of gets wonky, but the details around that shape the like bird's head and stuff, to me, are just not as defining because the stitches are bigger. And I kid you not, there are like 25 or more blues in that one little bird. I mean, which is wonderful for depth and everything, but a real pain in the ass to stitch. So I just couldn't see going further with that. So I just finished that out. I did do it took me 9 of the 10 hours that I was supposed to do to finish that. And I didn't write down how many stitches I actually did on that, but I will put the stitch count, how many stitches I actually did, on the screen, because that's on my phone, which is what I'm using to record at the moment. But anyway, so I think it's cute. It was worth fleshing that out to turn it into something for what I had done. But I just was not going to stitch the whole giant long branch. I wasn't enjoying it. So anyway, so now I have almost an entire fat half of 40 count fabric in a very pretty light blue to do something else with. So that is it for the verdicts. So we'll move into Court is in Session. I have a couple of knitting whips that I want to show you. One you have seen before, but I'm going to show it to you again because I've started working on it consistently again. This is in a fat squirrel bag, and this is the Ladybird Wrap by Heave Locatelli, which I am doing in the Suburban Stitcher fingering weight yarn that it was designed in. Why are you stuck? Sorry, my cord is stuck. I'm still working on this centerpiece, but I'm getting really close. I'm on the last repeat of this series on the second half, so I think I still have like 65 more rows or something to do, but they don't take that long. And so by the next time, my definite goal is by the next time I record in 2 to 3 weeks, that excuse me, that this center part is finished, because once this is finished, I've got to pick up stitches and do all kinds of other stuff around. I will have showed at some point a picture of what it will look like finished. So I don't know if I have a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it, but it basically was exactly what you just saw, except a little shorter. So the other knitting whip is I cast on a new pair of socks today. So I don't have much on the socks themselves, but I thought I would show them to you. This is the sock blank from Gail's Art that I showed you last time that my friend Peggy had given me. And I needed to cast some socks on, and I didn't really feel like winding yarn, and this still had not been put away. So I said, well, that's ready to go. So this is a double knit sock blank. I like to knit my socks 2 at a time, toe up, which means I knit with 2 little balls of yarn. And so a sock blank, if you aren't a knitter or if you never knit one, is basically the dyer knit or had knit up this long length of bare yarn, and then she dyed it in this form. So as I unravel it, now some people completely unravel it into 2 balls. I just knit from it as it unravels. I will get these stripes of color, and where you see the flowers, there will not be flowers, but there'll be like little speckles of the colors that the flowers are. If you're curious what they really look like, if you go to my Ravelry project pages and search within my project for Gail's Art, you'll see I've done several other of her sock blanks, and you can see kind of the speckly look of it. So anyway, a double knit sock blank means there's 2 strands of yarn knit up together so that there's coming out 2 strands identical, so my socks will be basically identical. A lot of sock blanks are 1 strand of yarn, but since I knit my socks 2 at a time, like 2 on the same, literally the same time on the same needle, I like the double knit ones. So I just started these today, and so far I've just started the toes. That's all. I haven't even finished all my increases yet. And I knit my socks on US 0.2 millimeter needles. Usually 60 stitches, sometimes 64. It just kind of depends how the yarn's knitting up. I think these will probably be 60 stitches, because the kinks of some people don't like knitting with sock blanks because of the kinks in the yarn. It doesn't bother me because of the way that I hold and tension my yarn. It's straight. I mean, it's straight at the time I'm knitting it. It doesn't kink up there. So that's not a problem for me, just because of the way I tension my yarn. So that's really all the knitting Court is in session. I have worked a little bit more on my corner to corner blanket that I think I showed you last time or the time before, but not enough that you'd see a real difference. So let's move on to the cross stitch progress. So it is March 1st. I was gonna record last weekend excuse me, But I decided to wait until today because I would like to try to get on a schedule of like first of the month, middle of the month, particularly because it's easier for me to track this. I like tracking the stats. At least a couple of you seem to like to hear the stats, but it's easier for me to keep up with what I've done since the last time I've showed you if I'm on a more consistent schedule. So I'm gonna try to aim for that. So I waited till today so I could do it on the first so I could tell you all the February stats. At a minimum, I'm gonna try to do one at the beginning of each month so I can at least tell you the previous month's overall stats. So for February, I couldn't find I don't have my glasses on my eyes. I couldn't find my notes. For February, I stitched a total of 16,943 stitches on a total of 12 cross stitch projects. That's a little less than January, but there also were 2 less days in January, so and 1 less project. So first up is in this bag, which is a double. You could do 2 projects in this. I just have 1 giant project in this. The bag is made by Allegra Stitches, and this is Quarantine Cats. So that's why it's in this bag, because you've got the cats watching a movie. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, based on artwork by Bridget Ashwood. Again, as I go, I'm going to be putting pictures up of what the pattern will look like finished, and also, if it exists, a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I did, this was a whip go call, so it got 10 hours. Sorry, it's a big piece of fabric. And I did a total of 2,168 stitches in February. And this is now at 3.7%. I'm doing this on 25 count potato Lugana. Beth the Steadfast Stitcher, if you're happen to be watching, your favorite. 1/1 full cross. That is typically how I do all of my full coverage unless I state otherwise. So I started this on February 25th, 2021. So this project is now 3 years old, and it might be 30 years old before it ever gets finished. This is my largest project. It has like 330,000 stitches or something. So this is just one of those patterns that I enjoy. I actually considered converting it to a mini last year, to starting over on the mini version, but I decided I didn't like the level of detail. And so this is just a process project. If I ever finish it, great. If I don't, I will enjoy the process. So, because I don't, unless I turned it into a real focus for several years, it's not, the 2,000 to 3,000 stitches I've been putting in the last couple years is not going to get it there. So we'll see what happens. Next up is A Stitch a Day by Morning Glory Needleworks. I started this January 7th of this year. I'm doing it on 28 count Lugana from Mystic Fibers, I think. Mystic Fabric in the Time Worn colorway. And I'm doing it with sulky thread, which might have been a mistake, but I'm doing it. My friend Peggy gifted me this. And so I'd work on this every Sunday and do basically like a week's worth. So each square is, one day is the outside, second day is the inside. So one Sunday I'll do 3 squares, the next Sunday I'll do 4 squares. And they're specialty stitches. I don't know if you can see the detail. I like the sulky because of the one strand, but honestly, and normally, if I were cross-stitching, sulky on 28 count would be fine, and maybe even a little less coverage than some people would like. But with these specialty stitches, it's almost too much in some places. I'm going to persevere with the sulky, but there's at least one of those squares already where I've kind of modified the outside specialty stitch because there was just no way I could go through a hole that as many times as the specialty stitch wanted me to, and have it work. It wasn't working. So I just kind of did I don't remember what the stitch was or anything, but it's fun to do the different stitches. I do enjoy doing it. So I did, since the last time you saw that, I did 730 stitches, and I'm currently at 12.8%. Next up is in this Ruth Bader Ginsburg bag made by Lynn X Stitch Creates. This is Kingdom of Books. This is the full coverage piece that I am putting at least 2,000 stitches into every single month this year, which will get me hopefully to close to about 50% by the end of the year. The kit, I bought this as a kit. It's a Russian kit from Make It With, a company that translates to Make It With Your Own Hands. I am using the kit fabric and floss. This is on a 14 count Aida. I started this back in about August 31st of 2016, which is when I had a brief coming back to cross stitch after about a 20-year absence. That didn't last very long. And I still didn't really know about much besides Aida at that point. So I started this on the kit fabric and didn't really think about changing it. If I were to start this now, I probably would have changed the fabric, and possibly, even if I stitched the background, I would have at least done it like on a gridded fabric. But I didn't, and I'm not starting it over. So the margins are a little tight. So as you can see, I've had to put fabric on the top and bottom so that it will fit my Q-snap and I can actually get to where we're at. But I did another, since you last saw this, I did another 565 stitches because I had done 1,435 when I recorded about mid-February, but I did another 565 for a total of 2,000 in the month of February, and I'm currently at 22.8%. So the work was all done right in here. And as you can see, I'm gridding myself. I started with a friction pen, which, you know, who knows if that's going to come out. Because again, back when I started this, I Googled and found about friction pens. Now I'm using an actual fabric pen that is water, that comes out with just water as opposed to heat. So I'm hoping the one that comes out with heat will be okay. We'll see. I do actually enjoy working on that, other than I'm doing it as the kit calls for with the 3 strands for most of it, because it's kind of like a dimensions kit. Some of the, like, sorry, just putting it away, but some of this in here is done like 1 strand to give the depth. So sorry about my head and the screen. If I were doing it on different fabric, I might have done it only in 2 strands, but I am doing it in 3 strands. Let's hope I don't run out of floss. I don't know what kind of floss this is, but I feel like if I start to run low, I'll just, sorry, my eye's suddenly itching. Instead of Flosstube nose, I got Flosstube eye. If I start to run low in something, I'll just use my DMC, you know, book that has the thread and find the closest thing. And you know, I'll try to make that decision early enough on that I can blend it in so it's not one big section that's different. Hopefully, the only thing I'd worry about running out of it maybe is that thread that does that have background wood grain, because that is where the only place I think it might be noticeable. So, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Next up is in this bag that I bought from Stitchery Express, and I'm not sure who makes her bags. And this is Moons Out, Brooms Out by Autumn Lane Stitchery. This, I have been participating. I had joined the Halloween group. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Unfortunately, the group is closing at the end of March. So, but one of the challenges at the beginning of the year was a quarterly challenge where for 3 months you focused on one Halloweenish project, and then the next quarter you moved to another one. So I'd picked 4 projects at the beginning of the year to use for that. This is the first quarter project. I am still going to continue to do a project a quarter in the same vein of this, just the group will not be there for the check-in. So so this is the second month that I worked on this. The goal for the challenge in that group was 400 stitches. My personal goal for each one is 1,000 stitches. So this is how much I did this month, and I did a total of 1,033 stitches, which gets me to 19.6%. So I did that I think I did that O and some of that N. I did a lot more moon, which outlined the S. I think that's mostly what I did. Maybe that O. I might have done that O as well. I can't remember. But you will have seen a picture of what it looked like at the end of last month. So and then because I had reached all my goals for the month, I did have one day, the 28th, before I had a plan on the 29th to work on Autumn Seaside a little bit. This is a pattern by Forbidden Fiber Co. And I'm doing it on, I started this on, sorry, let me back up a minute. Moons Out, Brooms Out, I started on December 11th, 2022. Autumn Seaside, I started last February at the Barefoot Needle Arts Retreat on February 4th, 2023. I'm doing this on 40 count fabric from Forbidden Fiber Co. in the colorway Lullaby, which is the called for the pattern with the Forbidden Fiber Co. floss. And I'm trying, this color has so much, fabric has so much more blue in it than really shows. So I did, I think I'd finished the pumpkin the last time I showed it to you, so I did most of that bird. It's not quite finished up there. I did 657 stitches, and I'm currently at 30%. So, and I've left this mostly in the Q-snap just because I'm probably going to work on it some more. Well, I am going to work on it hopefully in March. This is my project right now that is my work on it till it's finished. So after I finish my goals each month, then I work, this is the project that I'm working on until it's finished. So, and I mean, I might, this month I didn't, but you know, if I just like want a palette cleanser between a goal or something, then I may work on it. So next up are a couple of new starts. And the first one is, since I finished my Cardinal Tree Mill Hill, I had to start another Mill Hill. I am doing Mill Hill Monday this year, and so I started Moonlit Owl, and I just did 167 stitches this past Monday, so just one Monday that I worked on that, and this is where it is. And I keep this in just a little blue, what is it called? Blue something. Blue Q bag. That's handy enough to keep everything in. So like I said, I did 167 stitches on that. I started that the 26th of February, and that's 11.9%. And then my last start is in this bag that I got from, I think Carrie Sews For You. Is that right? I think the card's in here. Not that one. There it goes. I was going to say, I intentionally left the card in there. Carrie Sews For You. And it's winter gnomes and snowmen and stuff. It doesn't fit the theme, but there'll be a different bag later. So this was my Long Dog Leap Day Sal start. I started Anzac by Long Dog Samplers. I'm doing it on 40 count Laura's fabric in the Brain Fog colorway. So this is where I got to yesterday. I did 692 stitches, which is 2.4%. I am doing this mostly in variegated, I'm doing it all in silk, and it's mostly in variegated Silks for You PR038, which is this variegated charcoal green and blue. But I'm also doing, I had also ordered this PR136, which is more greens to add in. And I'm doing, I'll put a mock-up here of kind of what I think I'm doing. I'm doing the turtle in the tree in green. I pulled this Silks for You smaller skein that I had of PR123. This is the accent I'm using actually on my pandemic that I'm going to do some of the water in. And then I think something just went falling and I'm not sure what it was. I think I'm going to do the sun in this Be Stitch Me silk, which is called Guardian. I think that's what that says. Yeah, Guardian. So I'm not sure about the sun yet. I'll put a mock-up here that I did in Markup RXP of what I think I'm going to do. And, you know, but I'm a long way from, like, that sun or the water. I'm close to the tree, which I know I'm doing in green. So we'll see when I actually get there what happens. And that is it for Court is in Session. On the docket, since it's the beginning of a new month, I've got all of my goals for the month. My 2 March Whip Go calls, the numbers were 1 and 10. And I thought, actually, before I tell you what the projects are, I'll tell you, I thought this was kind of interesting what projects, I just noticed what projects were assigned to 1 and 10. When I do my Whip Go board, I come up with a list of all of the projects I'm going to put on the board. Excuse me. And then I put all of those in a tiny decision wheel. And then I draw, you know, I like run the wheel. And the first one that comes up goes in block 1. The second one that comes up goes in block 2. So that's how I kind of randomize what projects go in what numbers. I mean, the number drawing is random, so I guess I could just put them in order of start date or whatever, and it would still be random. But in my brain, I have to randomize it more. Anyway, I had not noticed until the numbers 1 and 10 were called for March that number 1 is my Lady of the Flag, which was my New Year, New Start for this year that I started on 1/1. And my number 10 is my Minnie the 10th from Heaven and Earth Designs. I just thought that was kind of funny because I hadn't noticed that when I was creating my board that my January 1st project had ended up as number 1 and the 10th had ended up on number 10. So those are my 2 Whip Go calls for the month. I will put 10 hours into each one of those. I'm really glad that Lady of the Flag kind of came back up again relatively soon while I'm still thinking about it, because I've been thinking about pulling that out again, but I'm trying to kind of stick to my goals and get those done and then leftover stitching time. But February being a short month, and having the retreat one weekend and all that stuff, I just, you know, didn't have a lot of extra time once the goals were done. Other than that, you know, I've got my regular monthly goals. I'll do my One Nation part, 2,000 stitches on Kingdom of Books. I'll do 1,000 stitches on Moons Out, Brooms Out. I will be starting the October Quaker on the 8th. Sundays, I will stitch on the Stitch a Day. Sometimes I have time, I do more stitching than that on Sundays. It just really depends on what time I get to start stitching. Sometimes I have time in the afternoon, and Sunday's like my chore day, laundry and groceries and all that stuff. So sometimes I have a little time in the afternoon. Other times I don't really get to stitch till after dinner time. I will do Mill Hill Mondays and continue to work on the Moonlit Owl. And Anzac will get worked on at least the 29th of each month. My goal for that is to do, I need to do about a little over 600 stitches a month to finish that by Leap Day 2028. I'm fine with finishing it earlier if that's what happens. And I'm sure there will be some months where I may do more than 600 stitches. So my goal is at least 600, because I think technically it would take like 600 and 11 and a half stitches or something every month. So, like this month I did 692. So I'm already a little bit ahead, but, so my plan is to pull that out every month on the 29th and do at least 600 stitches. Maybe not always on the, I might not get all 600 on the 29th, but I will start on the 29th. And most months, except for February, the next 3 years, will have, you know, the 29th, 30th, at least the 29th and 30th, maybe the 31st. I don't, so I am planning at least one start in March. I am going to start Huckleberry Farm from the Blue Flower on March 19th. Beth from Crafts and Books, and another Flosstuber she mentioned that I have not watched yet. I saved her, saved her video so I can go and watch her. I just haven't had a chance yet, so I can't remember her name. I think it's Enchanting something. Are doing a hashtag Wings of Change sale for starting anything that has a butterfly, a dragonfly, maybe a bird. I feel like there's a third thing. I know butterfly and dragonfly. And I have been planning to start Huckleberry Farm in March. So I decided I'll just wait and start that on the 19th because that has a butterfly on it. I do have a start saved up because of 2 finishes, but I haven't decided anything definitive yet if I'll start anything else in March. But anyway, so before I get to stashing for retirement, because that is all the whips and the crafting and all that stuff. And I know some of you probably don't care about what I've gotten stashed, which is not a lot this month, but last episode I had just reached 500 subscribers, and so I did a giveaway, and the giveaway is a $25 gift certificate to the online craft supply store of your choice, whether it be Etsy or 123 Stitch or your local needlework shop. I think last time I said local, I think I said LYS, which is local yarn shop, which is fine with me too. If you want yarn instead of cross stitch supplies, works for me. You know, I do ask that it be a crafty store. I don't really want to buy a $25 Amazon gift card because I'm not interested in paying for your vitamins or whatever. I mean, I guess you can order craft stuff off of Amazon. If that's the only way you have to order craft stuff, because that's the only place it'll deliver to your house, just let me know and I'll do it. But I don't think that's the case for our winner. So the winner of my giveaway is Stitching Lone Star 6362. And I know that she has actually watched me for a while, so I was kind of happy when I saw her name pop up because she was not that I would have begrudged a brand new subscriber from winning, but I was excited that somebody that I know had watched more than the one episode, and who has commented before one. So Stitching Lone Star, if you will email me at I will make sure the email address is in the Linktree link below, but I will spell the email address out because I don't want to say it wrong. I don't use it very often. I think it's Criminally Creative 1, the number 1, but I'll put it below. If you will email me and tell me where you would like your gift card from and confirm, and please type out the email address that it needs to be sent to so that I can copy and paste and get it correctly and not have to pull it from where you email me from, if that makes any sense. Let me know and I will go and purchase that and get it sent to you as soon as I get that information. Like I said, it does need to be somewhere that I can order it online and have it emailed to you, rather than I don't really want to make a phone call and have to explain what I'm doing and ask for your physical address or any of that stuff. So okay, so if that was all you're here for, I appreciate you checking me out. If you want to hang around, I'm going to show you a little bit of stash, and then we'll talk about where I'll be in the next few months. Okay, stashing for retirement. I do not have a lot this month. I have been trying to be more judicious about what I am buying, so just because I have so much. But most of this, is clubs or auto ship with a little bit of yarn thrown in. So I got I ordered from Stitch New England the current fabulous houses from Cottage Garden Samplings. The greenhouse, which was number 3. Number 4 has just come out, but I have not gotten that one yet. And also from her, I do a fabric club, which is Atomic Ranch, and I get a 40 count, and the February color was Winter Mint, which is really pretty. Nice light green. And then I got my February Be Stitch Me. I also do a 40 count with her in her neutrals, and this is Vanilla Latte, which has got a definite orangey tone to it. I was laughing. I saw online in her colors club, and if you get her color club and don't have it yet, maybe fast forward 30 seconds, is a more definite orange, and it's called I Can't Elope. So like a cantaloupe orange. I thought it was funny. Anyway, so that's like club regular subscription stuff. I did order 2 skeins of yarn, so I've really been trying not to buy yarn online at all for the past. I mean, I have not bought any yarn online since 2022, because last year my rule was I could only buy it like in person. But I've kind of stuck to that rule this year, but I did break that rule for one purchase. Jude of Stranded Dye Works is closing his business, and so he had one last update, and I really wanted to have a skein of Stranded Elf, which is named after his mother, who passed away last year. Actually, his mother and his father passed away last year. And so I got a skein of that in fingering. I wanted it in DK, but the DK sold out. I had one in my cart, but then when I went to check out, it was out. But fortunately, there was still some fingering left. So I got that. Total blues and purples. I really wanted it when he first released it last year after she passed away, but I was not buying yarn online. And I convinced myself, well, he'll dye it again later. Well, he did, but he's not ever going to dye it again. So I did that. And I also, because it was coming from England, I wanted more than one skein. I got a skein of DK in Pigeon Fancier. So, which is really, it really looks like pigeon colors to me, which is really pretty. And it's a color I had admired before. My cat is, I don't know if you can see, right? Oh, she went down right there. My cat is in here and scratching on the door because she wants out. I'm going to go let her out real quick. Okay, sorry for that blip. She would have gotten progressively louder if I had not gotten up and let her out. So, that is it for Stashing for Retirement. Can you believe it? I have done a couple of market pre-orders. I was really trying just not to do any market pre-orders because I was like, I'm just going to wait. I don't have to pre-order. I can get it later. You know, it's going to be readily available for the next few months. I can space it out. And I was doing good. I was just making a list of charts I saw that I liked, so I, would know later if I wanted to buy a chart, what I like, remember the names of things and that sort of stuff. And then Plum Street put out her previews, and she was later than a lot of them putting out previews. And I had forgotten that American Welcome was coming out at market this year, or I'd forgotten that I was hoping that it was coming out. American Welcome is a pattern that was done for a retreat, I think, a year or so ago, and I had seen it before, and I was on my list for, hopefully getting someday when it was released. So I was like, well, I have to order that. And then she had the Flag Thief, which I really like, so I ordered that. And then is it Heart and Hand that does the tiny towns? I think it's Heart and Hand. The Frosty Tiny Town, oh my God, I had to have that. And I went ahead and ordered both of the any tiny towns because I have all the tiny towns and I can't miss any tiny towns. um, and then I did order 2 other patterns from, I think, is it the Artsy Housewife? The Artsy Housewife. I don't remember the exact names of them off the top of my head. The um, the owl, I think it is, holding the coffee mug. I can't remember what it says, but the one that really got me was the Apollonia, the fox with the apple tree. That was the one that I had to have, and then I really liked the owl with the thing. And then I also ordered the new Prairie Schooler Santa because I have all those. So I think that's everything. There are a ton of other charts that I like, and I've got them on a list. But I narrowed it down to like I also got the 10th Day of Christmas from Liz Matthews because I'm collecting all those and I'm planning to, at some point, start doing those. So those were all the ones that I just had to have. And since I, had to go ahead and get American Welcome, I went ahead and ordered the other ones that were on my must-have list, pre-order, and I split my pre-orders between Stitch New England in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, and Barefoot Needle Arts in Surfside Beach. Those are my not the only shops that I support, but those are my 2 go-to shops for online ordering. Just because I know the owners and consider them friends, and I like to support their shops. So, and then I actually also emailed Pam, and I don't know if I emailed it after I knew she'd left for market, so we'll see if she gets it or not, because I found out earlier this week that Color and Cotton is going to have, I think, the thread packs for the American Welcome. So hopefully, if she didn't get my email or isn't able to pick one up, I'll be able to get one of those. They've got it on the website right now, but showing is sold out. But I think that they probably, my guess is that they're waiting until they get back from market before they put it where you can maybe pre-order it. So, anyway, so that's about it for Stashing or Retirement calendar. Carolina Fiber Fest is next week, next Friday and Saturday in Raleigh at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. I am planning to meet up with some friends there on Friday afternoon, probably around 3 o'clock, and we're going to check out the show for a couple hours and then go have dinner. So if you happen to be around Carolina Fiber Fest next Friday afternoon and see me, stop and say hello. If you're a knitter, Carolina Fiber Fest is the fiber event that I used to be on the board for and help organize, that I rolled off of a couple years ago just because I didn't really have time to do it anymore. So there will be vendors there that are yarn and fiber and a couple, other fiber adjacent type things. They also have classes that I'm sure they still have some openings for room in. There will be people there demonstrating spinning and weaving, and I'm not sure which day is which. I think there is a fleece to shawl competition and then something else the other day. I don't remember. There's a used equipment sale. There's a fleece sale. So anyway, if you're a knitter, a crocheter, a spinner, a weaver, or you're just interested in looking at that stuff, go check it out. There is a $5 admission fee this year, I've noticed, which to me is a very reasonable fee. It's $5 a day, or you can buy a 2-day pass for $8. But up until this year, it has always been free to get in. So if you have been before, know that there is a $5 charge to get in this year. You can buy that ahead of time, I think, on Eventbrite. There's a link on their website, but you can just pay at the door too, I think. So I'm just going to pay at the door in case something happens and I don't make it. So that's the most coming up for sure thing. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. The soonest thing coming up. Something I forgot to mention last time is I will be at North Meets South Needlework Showcase in Washington, D.C. in August. That is August 8th through 11th. That is being put on by Barefoot Needle Arts and Stitch New England. And that is a event. It's kind of similar to what I was just talking about with Carolina Fiber Fest. It's not a retreat. It is an event that will have like cross-stitch vendors, and they will also have some classes. You can get tickets to that now. Right now, I think the only tickets available are tickets to the vendor area to shop at the vendors. They did have tickets that also gave you access to a room to sit and stitch, but those are sold out to my knowledge. Um, I believe they are checking to see if there's a way to expand that, if they can get another room, but I don't know. I don't know the capability of that. So, but there is a website for that, North Meets South Needlework Showcase.com. I think I'll link that below as well. I'll also link Carolina Fiber Fest below. If you're interested in that, I will be there in August. And then I'll be at Barefoot Needle Art Retreat in October, the weekend of the 4th through the 6th, which is the 6th is my birthday, so I'll be there on my birthday. That Sunday will be my birthday. And that's it. I'm still up in the air on Maryland Sheep and Wool. I really want to go, but I want to go, and if I could go and not spend money, I think I said this last time, if I could go and not come home with 50 new skeins of yarn, I would go in a heartbeat. I'm just not sure that I'm that good yet at resisting the yarn. I have really curtailed my yarn buying the last 2 years. Of course, I've replaced it with cross-stitch buying, so it's not that I'm doing that much better. But I have a lot of yarn. So anyway, we'll see. That is I think the first weekend in May, the weekend before Mother's Day. And I believe my friend Michelle said she was going to go ahead and make a reservation in the hotel because she's planning to go regardless. But I need to kind of make a decision, I think, by the end of March so I can let her know if I want to go and make sure that she hasn't already made other plans. So, because I don't want to, like, slide in with her last minute if she's already planned a gazillion other things. So, but anyway, I think that's about it. I will stop rambling now. Check my notes. Stitching Lone Star, shoot me an email. Congratulations. You want to know how my brain works. I was just thinking, oh, I should have been like more enthusiastic when I said her name, because like I think of Pam, who owns Stitch New England, has a floss tube called Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. And when she announces a giveaway, she's like, yay, you won. And I feel like I should have been all excited, but if you know me, you know that's really not my personality. So anyway, I'll stop rambling now. I hope y'all all are doing well and that you're getting lots of stitching time in, and hopefully I will be back sometime around the 15th. Will be a Friday, so hopefully I'll be back around the 15th or that weekend for another episode to catch you up on where I'm going. So until then, y'all have a great time. Bye, y'all.